On previous day, there was a talk on the second verse, the answer given by the Buddha. And in the second verse, the answer given by the Buddha, the first quality that the person must be endowed before one's body break down and die. The first quality one must fulfill is akodano. Akodano, not to be angry. As a yogi, we can practice mindfulness in order to remove anger moment by moment, so that we will be not angry in the moment, and cultivating such moments of not being angry. Later on, through this practice of meditation, we can attain the level where anger is totally removed by attaining the path knowledge. There is the saying, prevention is better than cure. In the same way, it is better to prevent anger from arising. And if anger arises by lack of mindfulness, one should cure it right away by being mindful. In order to prevent anger from arising, one should make effort in noting the object so that the mindfulness will stick onto the object, the mind fall calm collected on the object. So if these factors, viriya, sati, and samadhi, are present in the noting of the object, anger has no chance to arise. In this way, anger is prevented from arising. Having sati, mindfulness is like a doorkeeper. A doorkeeper doesn't allow bad people to come into the place. In the same way, having mindfulness, doorkeeper, the mind is guarded, protected, so that anger as well as other defilements cannot arise. Viriya, effort, doesn't accept defilements from arising. Sati, mindfulness, guarding, protecting, so that anger as well as other defilements cannot enter. Samadhi, concentration, the mind calm, collected on the object, and thus defilement and cannot arise. In this way, every time one is being mindful, every time one is having these factors, defilement cannot arise. Anger as well as other defilements are guarded, protected, being prevented from entering into the mind. And when the yogi, by noting the object, discerning the object, panya, also removes the anger momentarily. So in this way, by being mindful, discerning, anger has no chance to arise at the moment of being mindful and discerning. In this way, we should remove anger moment by moment, one after another, so that anger will become weakened until finally we can get rid of the anger to the point of no return by attaining the path knowledge. Once one attains at least the first path knowledge, the kind of anger that can lead to apaya will never arise. So in order to get there, we need to remove anger part-time by part-time, by being mindful. If there is seeing, note it as seeing. If one is mindful, if one is not mindful of the seeing, if one sees unpleasurable form, shape, or sight, anger can arise. If one is not mindful of the hearing, one can get angry. How come this disturbing noise arising while I'm meditating? In order not to let that kind of anger arise, as soon as one hears, one should notice hearing right away, so that anger or other defilements cannot arise connected with the hearing. Smelling, as soon as one smells, notice smelling. When eating also, be mindful. If one is not mindful, if one gets to eat something that one doesn't like, there can be anger, or if there is the flavor that the person doesn't like, anger can arise. In order to prevent it, be mindful at the moment of eating, at the moment of tasting, so that anger or grief cannot arise at the moment of eating. Touching a small white rising, falling is also touching. Sitting, touching also is kind of touching, because the tangible objects come into contact with the kaya pasada, body sensitivity. So if unpleasant tangible objects come into contact with the bodily sensitivity, then there is this bad touch, unpleasant sensations arise, and one can be angry about it if one is not mindful, especially when pain arises. If one is not mindful of the pain, then there can be anger, such as, why does this pain has to come? My leg is in pain. I am in pain, and so on. In order not to let anger arise based on what has been touched at the body base, one should be mindful. When pain arises, if one is not mindful, one is angry. I am in pain. My leg is painful. But observing the pain, noting it with effort, mindfulness, sticking onto the pain, the mind fall calm, collected on the pain, one comes to discern nature such as stiffness or heat or tension. When the mind falls on the pain and discern the pain itself, such as tense pain, tense, heat, or pressure. At that moment of discerning the nature, there is the pain that manifests as heat or tension or pressure, and the noting mind that is noting. There is no person, no being. Yogi sees the pain itself, discerning the nature, this heat, tension, no person, no being. And as the yogi keeps on noting the stiffness, tension, heat, it is not constant. It doesn't stay long. It doesn't stay forever. Being mindful, when the mindfulness and concentration is strong, yogi comes to see that stiff, heat, tension arise and pass away. Arise and pass away. Another heat, another tension arise and pass away. In this way, yogi comes to discern that this pain is not permanent. Tension, stiffness, heat arise and pass away. It is not permanent. There is constantly arising, passing away in a complete flux. This tension, stiffness, they are arising in their own accord. In this way, when the yogi comes to see the impermanent suffering and non-self, yogi also comes to discern that pain is just a nature that arises and passes away. It arises and passes away in its own accord. There is nothing to be angry about. When the yogi gets to this stage, yogi comes to understand the impermanent suffering non-self. Knowledge has arisen, vipassana knowledge arises, and by cultivating this knowledge, yogi removes the latent dormant defilement momentarily. So in this way, as the yogi practice on, yogi removes these defilements moment by moment, one after another. Defilements become weakened and weakened. And finally, yogi will reach the stage where one removes the defilement. And also, when the yogi feels that the practice is not smooth, or when the yogi feels that his or her practice is not good, yogi tends to get upset, depressed, or sad. This upsetness, being depressed, sadness, it is also connected with anger. So one should be careful not to get upset, not to be depressed, not to feel sad when he or she feels that the practice is not good. In fact, as a yogi, there is only one duty of the yogi: to keep on noting the object with effort, mindfulness, and concentration, whatever the object that arises, whether the object is good or bad, whether it is pleasant object or unpleasant object, what the yogi has to do is to keep on noting. Do not be judging whether the practice is good or bad, but in fact, yogi has just to be noting whatever object that arises, whether good or bad, whatever object that comes obvious, just note it with effort, mindfulness, and concentration. So long as the yogi is able to note the object with effort, mindfulness, and concentration, so long as the yogi is coming to discern the object that has been noted, the practice is good. And if anger arises by lack of mindfulness, as soon as the anger arises, note it right away. If one is angry, note it as angry, angry. If one is upset, note it as upset, upset. If one feels depressed, note it as depressed, depressed. If one feels sad, note it as sad, sad. In this way, note it right away so that one will see it go away. In this way, remove it, cure it right away by being mindful. When the Vipassana knowledge is strong, yogi will be able to have mindfulness and concentration continuously. Mindfulness and concentration become stronger, discerning the object one after another, moment by moment. So when the Vipassana knowledge becomes strong, whatever object that comes obvious, whether pleasant or unpleasant, yogi will neither have greed or anger based on the object that arises. Yogi will be able to notice continuously and discerning them. When one has become anagami, anger is totally removed by attaining the anagami path knowledge. Before we get there, we should be removing, not letting anger arise through the practice of Vipassana, moment by moment. In the second verse of this answer, the next quality is asandasi. Asandasi means not worried. Usually, if people do not have the things they want, if things don't happen according to their wishes, they worry, they feel downhearted. And if they don't have anyone to take care of them, or if they encounter the circumstances which are not right, and the worldly conditions that are bad worldly conditions, they tend to get worried, downhearted. And if they encounter some criticism from others, also they get downhearted, worried. I have no good luck. I don't have good results of my karma. In this way, one feels worry. Such kind of worry should also be removed. So when worry and downheartedness arise, one should notice as worry, upset, downhearted, and so on. So one should remove it right away by being mindful. And the third quality is avikati. Avikati is one should not be boasting. One should not be boasting about the sila that one doesn't have. One should not be boasting about the scripture knowledge that one doesn't have. And also one should not be boasting about the attainments that one has not attained. And the fourth quality in the second verse is akukucho, not to have kukucha. This kukucha is quite wide. There explains about 3 kinds of kukucha. The first one is hatha pada kukucha, hatha kukucha, pada kukucha, meaning not keeping hands and feet still. This is something that one should avoid. Not keeping hands, legs, not still, not keeping the body or head still, it is kukucha. Also talking whatever one wants is kukucha. So this fidgeting or not keeping hands, body, legs still is caused by lack of mindfulness. If there is no mindfulness, one tends to move the hand, the legs, body from time to time. They just move the body whenever they want, shifting their posture whenever they feel discomfort. A mindful person keeps the body, hands, legs still and steady. It is important to keep the posture still and steady in order to cultivate concentration. But otherwise, if one is impatient, not being mindful, shifting the position, shifting the posture. So if one keeps on moving, shifting the posture frequently, then mindfulness and concentration will not be cultivated. One loses mindfulness if one moves around without noting, or if one keeps on moving every now and then. During the Buddha's time, there was one ascetic called Kandaraka. Kandaraka is the one ascetic who is outside of the sasana. This ascetic who was outside of the sasana, he was looking among the Sangha audience who were paying respect to the Buddha. And he saw that the Sangha who were the audiences of the Buddha, they were very cultured in their manner, very refined in their behavior, very serene. So even this ascetic who was outside of the sasana, seeing the Sangha being very gentle, refined in their posture, this ascetic came to have respect. And he told the Buddha, in the past, the Buddhas have given teachings in this way. Now that this Buddha is teaching in this way, in the future also, the Buddha was teaching in the way that the disciples were very admirable, gentle, very refined and serene in their behavior. And the Buddha said, what Karandaka, this ascetic see, is the composed manner, this refined manner in the behavior of the Sangha. But what he doesn't know is that among this audience Sangha, there are the Sangha who are Arahats, who have totally removed all the defilements, and thus their sati and sampajanya, their mindfulness and clear comprehension was totally fulfilled and accomplished. So among the Sangha, these Arahats who have accomplished removing all the defilements, accomplished and fulfilled sati and sampajanya. An Arahat has this mindfulness on whatever that arises at the sixth sense door. So an Arahat who is always mindful, Arahat's posture, Arahat's manner will be very admirable, very serene and refined behavior. And the Sakha are the ones who are practicing the Anagami, the Kadagami, Sotapanna, and even the Putujana who are practicing the full Satipatthana is said to be Chatusu Satipatthanesu Supatetita Cita, meaning the one who are practicing this Anagami, Sakadagami, Sotapanna, as well as the Putujana who are practicing diligently, their mind is fully established on the four kinds of Satipatthana practice. Their mind are fully established in Kaya Nupassana Satipatthana, Vedana Nupassana Satipatthana, Chitta Nupassana Satipatthana, and Dhamma Nupassana Satipatthana. That's why the audience has been very serene, very calm, and very gentle and refined in their manner. As a yogi also, to be free from hatha kukucha, pada kukucha, one should keep their body still and steady while doing sitting meditation, noting rising, falling, sitting, touching. When doing walking meditation, keeping the eyes down, being mindful of the steps, lifting, moving, placing. When doing daily activities also, opening and closing of the door, switching on and off the light, to be mindful of these activities such as bending, stretching, turning, and so on. So in this way, whatever the yogi does, one should have mindfulness continuously on whatever that one is doing. And the second type of kokocha is Vinaya kokocha. It has to do with monks. Monks reflect whether or not something is in accordance with their Vinaya. So it is good to have this Vinaya kokocha, reflecting whether or not one is suitable. This can be applied to the yogi as the yogi is practicing with the precept 8 or 9 precepts. So if one is doubtful, if something is not allowable for the ones with 8 or 9 precepts, better avoid it. And especially in the afternoon, not taking food that is not allowable in the afternoon, taking only clear fruit juice, taking water that is allowable, taking clear fruit juice that is allowable, and there are certain types of fruit that are not allowable as a juice to be consumed after 12 if one is taking 8 or 9 precepts. In this way, this Vinaya Kukucha, one should have reflection. If one doubts that it is not allowable, one should better avoid it. And the third of this Kukucha is Vipatisara Kukucha. This one is the remorse and the regret. The remorse and regret that arises based on one's wrongdoing that one did in the past, and the remorse and regret of not doing what one should have done, especially the kusala that one had not done, one will have remorse and regret. So it is better not to have remorse and regret. That's why, in order not to have remorse and regret, one should not do things that are unwholesome. There should not be wrongdoing by body and speech and the mind, so that there will not be remorse and regret. And also with the kusala, doing dana, sila, and bhavana, when one can, so that one will not have remorse or regret that one has not done it. Especially in the meditation practice, remorse and regret can arise if one has not attained path and fruition knowledge. So in order not to have remorse and regret of not having attained path and fruition knowledge, we are practicing Satipatthana meditation not to have remorse and regret of not attaining path and fruition knowledge. So it is very important. And the next quality is Nandabani. Nandabani means one should consider carefully before speaking so that one's speech will be proper. And another quality is Anuttato. One should not be distracted. There should not be scattering of the mind. There should not be distraction. In order not to let it arise, one should practice in order to cultivate concentration so that one's mind will not be scattered or distracted. So this is the second verse, the qualities that one should have before the body breaks down and dies. So this will be all for today. May we all be able to practice smoothly so that may we all be able to attain these qualities before we break down and die. May we all reach the goal of meditation before our lives end.
Sadhu, sadhu,
Sadhu.